I sat bolt upright. It was the middle of the night, the middle of a forest, the middle of winter. You see, I'd heard this sound. It was a low that grew into a I had no idea what a bear sounded like, but I was sure I was about to get mauled. As everyone knows in this situation, the first logical thing to do is to pull your sleeping bag tight around you, because bears can't get through sleeping bags. I huddled down, thinking safe thoughts in my magical sleeping bag, but the sound just kept getting louder. I thought about looking outside to see what kind of death was waiting for me, but the other rule of safety is if you see the monster, it can hurt you. If you don't see it, you're safe, so I just continued to hide. But the noise persisted in a very unhurried manner for an animal that was about to get its maul on. I should point out, this was not my first foray into backpacking, but this was the first time I had slept in a tent by myself. And in the practical light of morning, the idea of a man by my side protecting me from an attacking bear seemed pretty ridiculous. All alone in the middle of the cold night, I kept thinking how much safer I would feel with a big, strong guy by my side. Or even a small, wimpy one, because I'm a pretty fast runner. The noise continued. Jim? Devin? You guys up? Hello? Jim answered, yeah, what's up? Hey, do you hear that? Jim responded, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd hear that if I was trying to sleep in DC right now. I had to know. Do you think it's a bear? Jim took his time answering. The tension built. He said, it's worse. I pulled my sleeping bag tighter and waited. He said, I don't know how to break this to you, but I think it's sleep apnea. And then it hit me. Devin was snoring. I decided to wake him up because I wasn't going to get any sleep. Devin. Devin. Devin, turn over. I figured if I couldn't wake him, maybe I could shut him up through the magic of suggestion. Devin, turn on your side. Turn on your side, Devin. It worked. I still couldn't sleep. Bears were hibernating, Devin and Jim were quiet, but my heart was so pumped up from pounding through my chest, I couldn't get it to slow down. I hated it. I hated the fear. I hadn't felt this afraid in a really long time. When I was 21, I was working in New York City, and I had just made a wardrobe pickup for a production. So I was carrying this stack of suits across Fifth Avenue when a New York City cab came around the corner. I had a split second to think, run, and then it hit. Witnesses said it didn't run me over so much as send me flying straight up into the air, kind of like a Looney Tunes character. I landed Wile E. Coyote style square on my forehead. I lost a big chunk of skull, had one heck of a displaced hip, and spent a little time in the hospital. Still, that cab left a deeper mark. When I got out of the hospital, I suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, self-diagnosed, because really, who can afford a shrink at 21? I would have flashbacks of the moment when I knew that the cab was about to hit me. I would suffer an anxiety attack whenever I heard brakes screeching, saw someone almost get hit, or even witnessed someone jaywalking. If you've ever lived in or even been to New York, you may realize this happens about, once every 10 seconds. So it was hard for me to get through an hour, let alone a day, without having to press myself against a building, squeezing my eyes closed tightly, trying to wish away the vivid reliving of that cab hitting me. It was that kind of fear that was hitting me now in my tent while I listened to every sound, which is why I was still awake when the other noise came. This was like a rustling sound, like digging in the earth, followed by a grunting, kind of like a pig snorting. I tried to convince myself that one of the guys had just gotten up to go to the bathroom and had a really bad case of gas. Devin? Jim? No answer. Hey, you guys awake? No answer, but still plenty of movement. I had already been caught being a wimp once that night, so I refused to wake the boys. I refused to give in to the fear. Instead, I stared at the fabric roof over my head and created an emergency preparedness plan. The packs with the food in it were closer to my tent than Devin or Jim, so I figured I'd be the first one to get attacked. Boys sleep through anything, so I prepared myself to scream as loud as possible. I figured if I could wake one of them up, they could distract the bear while I... Did we even have pepper spray? I bet Jim had pepper spray. So Jim could get the pepper spray, I could distract the bear, and then Devin... Oh, but that's when I remembered. Devin was wearing cologne. I don't know why. This was bad because bears are attracted to cologne, but good because bears are attracted to cologne. I figured he'd be the first one to get attacked. So this thought, combined with the fact that my tent had not yet been rent asunder, calmed me down.